Okay, so here we're going to look at multiplying polynomials. When you multiply polynomials, a big thing to remember is that you have to multiply everything in the first polynomial by everything in the second polynomial. So you have to do everything in the first parenthesis by everything in the second parenthesis. These are both called binomials because there's two terms in each parenthesis. And we have a special kind of method, if you will, to multiply them, which is FOIL, where we do the first term, the outside term, the inside term, and the last term. And so if that rings a bell, that's great. Run with it. We'll do a couple of these. Be sure to pause the video and try these on your own. So we're going to multiply the first term. So x times 2x is 2x squared. And the outside term, x times -1 is minus 1x, or just minus x. And then 6 times 2x is 12 plus 12x for the inside term. And then the last term would be 6 times -1, which is -6. Okay, and then we want to simplify. So we want to combine like terms. It might be helpful to find like a color, or I usually just like I'm going to use a different color here, but underline things like one time or multiple times to keep like terms straight. So these green terms, these are both x's, so they can be combined. So just add or subtract or combine the numbers in front. So -1 plus 12 is just 11. And so this is equal to 2x squared and then plus 11x minus 6. Okay, and then be sure to pause the video and to try that again. I'm going to write this down here also. Oops, 11x minus 6. Okay, so number 2, we can use the same method. And this time when I FOIL, I get x squared. X times x is x squared. The outside terms is 5x. The inside term is -5x. And then the last term is -25. So that time when I do -5 plus 5x minus 5x, excuse me, that's 0. So those are gone. So it just leaves me with x squared minus 25. And so one thing to notice or make sure you know is this idea of equivalent. So this expression here, this x minus 5, x plus 5, is equivalent or equal to this. That means they are the same thing. They're just written differently. If you remember factoring, and we'll talk about factoring throughout the class probably, but if you remember factoring, it's just going the other way. I can factor this back to these. So those, if you're writing equivalent expressions, then that means they are just the same thing written in a different way. Okay, let's look at this number 3. Number 3, make sure to keep track of what you're doing here. And so I'm going to just write it directly under here. But I'm going to take the w and multiply it times each term here. And when you, it's w to the first, when you multiply, make sure you add exponents. So that's w cubed. And then the second one is plus 6w squared. And then minus 11w. And then go through and multiply the 4 times each term. So everything has to be multiplied by everything. So that's plus 4w squared plus 24w, and then minus 44. Okay, and then you have to combine like terms. So really kind of pay attention to what is what here and make sure you don't count things twice or leave anything out. So w cubed is here, and then I have a w squared here and a w squared here. So I'll underline both of those twice. That makes 10 w squared. Notice the exponents aren't changing. We're just adding or subtracting. And then my w's, I have 11w here and -11w and 24. So that makes 13 W. And definitely use a calculator if you need to type things in. And then I'm only left with negative 44. So one thing to be aware of is just common mistakes. So mistakes are very easy to make with these problems, especially because you are, you multiply this 3 times, and then you got to combine like terms. So you're doing a bunch of small operations, although like each one of them is not very difficult, but put them all together and it's pretty difficult. Okay, let's look at the next one, number 4. So here, same idea as above, but now I have 3 terms and 3 terms that I need to keep track of. So the problem is just growing. But pause the video, give this a try on your own. It will be a lot of terms, but you can do it. So first, the d squared to all 3 of these. And that gives me negative 3 d to the 4th. And then plus 7d to the 3rd. And then minus 6d squared. And then now we're going to use the plus 4d and take it to all 3 terms. And so nice and slow, 4d times 3d is plus 12d cubed. 4d times negative 7d is minus 28d squared. And 4d plus 6 is plus 24d. Okay, and then now you're on to this one. So deep breath, you can do it. This is a lot of work in one problem, true, but you're up for the challenge. I know you are. So then 3 times 3d squared is plus 9d squared. Be careful not to add them and make 6. And then 3 would be times negative 7 is negative 21d. And then 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, so we got them all. There's 9. 3 times 3 is 9. There's 9 total terms. And now I just have to combine them. So let's see. I got negative 3d to the 4th. I got a d cubed here, a d cubed here. And that's all of those. Let's add those. 7 and 12 make 19. And then we got a negative 6, a negative 28. And then positive 9. So let's do, this would be 7. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one almost. So negative 6 and then negative 28. So that would be negative 34. And then to add 9 to that would be negative 25. And then what do we have left? We have a 24d and a 21d. 24 and negative 21 makes plus 3d, and then plus 18. Okay, so if you made it through that without making any mistakes, great. Nice job. Hopefully I did too. If you see a mistake that I made, let me know, and we'll make sure to fix it. Actually, we're going to pause there, and then we'll pick up the last few problems in the next video.